Testing. Is this thing on? Well, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here, and today we're doing a little video on my Colorado bucket list. And that's everything that I've done in Colorado that I think you should add to your bucket list, as well as everything that's on my bucket list to do here that I haven't done yet. So I made a little list, and the first one on it is honestly one of my favorite things that I try to do every single summer. I recommend it to every single person that visits Colorado because it's relatively close to Denver, so it's easy to get to. It's just a short hike, and there's cliff jumping, swimming in an alpine lake, hiking, and you can ski all year round, and that is St. Mary's Glacier. I haven't actually gone there yet this season, but I'm hoping to ski there in August. I skied there last August, and it was so fun. I got to ski on my birthday, which I never thought was going to happen, at least not in Colorado. But it's so fun. It's like a mile hike. There's lots of parking, and I just think it's like super accessible for anyone visiting and, you know, anyone that lives here too. Highly recommend. Gotta try it. Okay, my next bucket list item is the 4 national parks that we have in Colorado. The first one being Rocky Mountain National Park. There is the Trail Ridge Road, which is this gorgeous drive that I recommend driving to anyone that's going. Also super accessible if you aren't in the mood to hike or something. Just drive along that road. You can get up so high and see just the prettiest view ever. But if you do want to hike, the only one I've done there is to like Emerald, Dream Lake, and Lake Hiaha, which I believe you need permits for all of them, but they're so gorgeous. Lake Hiaha sometimes has this like really turquoise grayish blue color to it, and the other lakes just have the most gorgeous backdrop, so recommend those. I'm sure there are so many other phenomenal hikes in the park, but those are the ones I've done, and I enjoyed them. The next national park is Great Sand Dunes National Park, and if you're gonna go there, I would definitely try sandboarding or sledding. You can sled or board. If you have your own, bring your own, but if not, you can rent them just outside of the park. There's like this little place where you can go pick up whatever. You need to get them before you enter the park, because one time we went all the way inside the park, waited in line to get in, and then we realized you couldn't get them inside of the park, and we had to drive back out, and it added like 2 hours to our excursion. Don't recommend doing that. So just get them ahead of time. You can also camp there, which I think is pretty cool. I've never done it, but it's pretty. There's the sand dunes, and there's mountains, and there's also hiking around the area, like not just in the park. So worth checking out the area. The third national park is Black Canyon of Gunnison. And I've actually been here, but we didn't do any hiking. We just looked over the canyon, and it was so pretty. I think it'd be cool to hike down or go rafting through it. Would be really, really fun. But I definitely need to spend more time there. We kind of went to like check it off the bucket list, but need to go back and check it out more. And then the last national park that Colorado has that I actually have not been to is Mesa Verde National Park. It has all these cliff dwellings of the ancestral Puebloans, and like just it has all their houses that they used to live in, like their whole city. Super cool. Need to go to that one day, and you should too. Okay, my next one I think is only if you're an avid hiker and you're up for it, and also you're well prepared with everything. Please do your research before you do any of these things. But I would say adding hiking a 14er to your Colorado bucket list is a must. There are 58 in Colorado, and I think there's only 2 other states with them in the US, so definitely try one in Colorado. There's so many for like a variety of skill levels. They go from class 1, where you're just hiking up them normally, although the elevation will get you, all the way to class 5, and that's where you're climbing, sometimes with ropes, sometimes not, depending on the level of class 5 it is. But just like everything, do your research before you go there to any of them, and just make sure you're prepared. I think I've only done 7 or 8 of them, but I've gotten altitude sickness on honestly, all of them, I think. I think it would be better now that I live higher up. Like, I live in the mountains, so my body's a little bit more adjusted, but it's not something to mess around with, especially on, you know, like a really dangerous one, or one that you like get stuck at the top. Like, if you get sick at the top and you can't get down, like, you're screwed. So be prepared and know your limits. Going off that, kind of like a winter version of that, like for the intense outdoors woman. I guess they're not all that intense, but you should do a hut trip. If you like backcountry skiing and skinning, and you know, you're AVI course certified, you have all the knowledge about avalanches and safety in the backcountry, look into going on a hut trip. You get to skin in to these huts. You can book them online, stay for like a couple days with your friends and go skiing all around them. And I've only done one. It was really, really, really hard. I'm not gonna lie. It was a 7-mile skin, and at the time, the longest I had ever skinned was 1.5 miles. So I think for the next one I go on, I either want it to be something a little bit closer or just be a little bit more prepared for it. But there's really some insane ones out there. My friends went to one that literally had like a sauna, I think, which I don't even know how that works, because the one that we went to, you had to boil your own water. Like, you'd boil snow, and there were no, let's see, were there lights? There was no heat because we had a fire. There must have been lights. I don't actually know if there were. You have to be prepared to do everything for yourself. So keep that in mind, but highly recommend it. The next one is doing a Via Ferrata. I've done the one in Telluride, and it is on the face of like a 500-foot cliff. You're just like dangling on the side of it. It's quite intimidating, but such a cool experience. They also have one in Ouray. If you don't have climbing experience, you can get a guide, but if you have all the proper gear, then you can do it yourself. I actually don't know how the Ouray one works because I haven't gone to that one. That one's on my bucket list, but I've been to the Telluride one. You can do it yourself as long as you have, you know, the gear, the knowledge. If you're prepared and you know how to do it safely, you can do it yourself. Otherwise, get a guide. Going off of that, another fun thing to do in Ouray is the ice climbing park. If you've ever wanted to learn how to ice climb, they literally have a climbing park there, which is so crazy to me. They kind of mist water above it at night so that it melts down and then freezes on the wall. There's so many different routes you can do, and it's all rated, so it's a great place to learn how to ice climb. That's actually where I learned how to. And it's kind of just like this little canyon. At the bottom, there's a river, and you stand down there and you can, you know, belay each other and learn how to climb. You can also get a guide for that one, and I would highly recommend doing that. I don't think you should actually try that one for the first time without a guide. That would be a horrible idea. Honestly, you shouldn't be trying anything without someone experienced with you for the first time. Okay, kind of a different direction. You gotta go to Red Rocks. That amphitheater is insane. I used to go so much when I went to Boulder and I lived in Denver, and it's so fun for any type of concert. I've been to EDM concerts there, or, you know, folk concerts, country concerts, whatever it is always a good time. And it sounds incredible. It's a beautiful place. You need to go. Close by there is Boulder, where I went to school. And if you ever find yourself in the area, I would highly recommend going to Chautauqua Park. It is a little bit busy there for hiking because it's like the most popular place to go there, but it's gorgeous. I think my favorite trail there has to be the Royal Arch Trail. It's so pretty. There's literally like arches like you see in Moab, Utah. It's a bit of a hike, not gonna lie. You definitely need to bring lots of water, lots of snacks, but it's a rewarding one. The end of it, being that arch, is so pretty. Mount Sinitas is there, which is also really pretty, and Green Mountain is another pretty one to climb or hike. Cooper added this one to the list because he used to be a raft guide. He said, and I agree with, you need to go whitewater rafting. There's so much of it here. He recommended going in Buena Vista. I've never done that. I've done it in Avon and maybe somewhere near Grand Lake. I don't exactly know where, but it's so fun. You can just book it online, go with a group, or like go by yourself and join a group. It's so fun. You can also do like a range of levels of it. Like if you're really intimidated by it, then you can do something a lot more chill. But I think they have like a variety in ranges. That one's like rated kind of like climbing is, I guess, like class 1 through 6. Although I'm pretty sure class 6 is like no one survived it. So I'm not really an expert on the ratings of those. The next one that I think is so cool are the trains in Colorado. There's some that you can book just for a scenic ride. But one time I did the train ride to Winter Park to go skiing in the winter, and it was so gorgeous, so fun, because if you want to have a little drink after skiing and you don't want to drive home, you take the train. It leaves Union Station at like 7 in the morning, and you get to Winter Park and there's no traffic because you're on the train. It's incredible. And you can go in these glass train cars and just watch the view of the mountains the whole way. It's so gorgeous. I've also been on the one in Georgetown, and they dress it up for like different holidays, like for Halloween and for Christmas and stuff like that. And then the other one that's on my bucket list is the one in Royal Gorge, or the Gorge Canyon, I suppose, but it's called the Royal Gorge Train. It looks really pretty, and I would love to do that someday. Kind of near Royal Gorge is Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs. I've been a couple times. Super chill hiking area. It's really accessible, has a lot of paved paths. So if you're someone who needs a little more access, not really into the hiking aggressively, that's a really perfect place to go. And you can drive around the park too. It's so pretty though. I think that's definitely something you gotta try. And then near there in Manitou Springs is the Manitou incline. It's like, I can't remember how many steps, a few thousand. I did it last summer and it was really hot, but it was so rewarding. It's basically just like a mile straight up of stairs, but it's in the woods, in the mountains, so it's gorgeous. And then you can hike down around a trail to get back down, so you're not like going back down the stairs. I think you should estimate, a couple hours for that one. I think I got to the top in less than an hour, which I surprised myself by doing. I could be wrong about that, but I think it was around an hour. But then it's like a couple mile hike down too. And the last one that you gotta go to is some sort of hot springs in Colorado. They are all over the state, and now that I'm saying this, I don't think I've been to any in Colorado. I think I've only been to them when I've been on ski trips in Wyoming and New Mexico. But there's a bunch in Colorado. I've heard phenomenal reviews about the Strawberry Hot Springs in Steamboat. They also have hot springs in Ouray. Ouray. Am I saying that right? And right down the road from Aspen, there's a couple places in Glenwood Springs that have hot springs as well. But those are definitely a little more resorty built up. They're not as natural as the ones in Steamboat. And there's a ton more natural ones that you can find on your own. Just give it a little Google search. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there's so many you can hike to. Like with everything, I recommend finding the locations on your own, because it allows you to do the research of what you need to bring, how you gotta get there, and just all the safety precautions you need to take. When it comes to sharing locations online, at least with this video, I tried to do all things that are, well maintained or not super dangerous. Because when people share specific locations on social media and stuff like that, I think that it can bring a wrong crowd, and also it doesn't give you any information to prepare yourself. And I don't want to ever post a location and someone goes there and they're so unprepared because they could get hurt. And that's never my goal. And by doing your own research in finding the location and finding out how to get there and how to prepare for it, you just set yourself up for, something that is within your limits and something that you can do. So I tried to pick popular things that are well maintained, things that you guys can do. Be safe out there and enjoy Colorado. Okay, love you guys. Bye.